back to Figuring It Out. I'm your host, Rachel Lee. Before we get into it, today, quick reminder, if something lands while you're listening, follow the podcast, leave a review, or simply share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. That's how this reaches the people it's meant for. All right. So today I want to start with something that stopped me earlier this week. 2 days ago was Easter Sunday, and I learned something that I honestly didn't know before. This Sunday coming up, next Sunday, is Divine Mercy Sunday. Now, I'm going to be upfront with you. I am a Christian. I was baptized Christian, but I am not a devout Catholic. And in my Christianity, for various reasons, right, I normally hit the high holidays. I believe in something, and whether you call it God or the universe, spirit, or maybe Gus for all three, I believe in something bigger than me is at work. And maybe all of those things, right? But anyway, I digress. I didn't know about Divine Mercy Sunday. And when I learned it, I stopped cold. Actually, I gasped. I was like, oh, because what it is how it was explained to me, is that Divine Mercy Sunday is the day that Jesus appeared to his disciples after the resurrection. And here's the part that got me. He didn't hide the wounds. He showed them. To tell them, look, I'm still here. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. I didn't think about it like that. And it really sparked this episode of the podcast. And so that's what I want to talk about for this episode. And, quickly before we dive into that, I want to talk about the difference between a wound and a scar, because really they're not the same thing. A wound is open. It's still bleeding. It's still raw. It requires protection. It requires care. It's not ready to be touched. But a scar is different. A scar means the healing already happened. It doesn't mean that it didn't hurt. It doesn't mean it wasn't real. It just means your body did what it was supposed to do. And you came through it. For a very long time, I emphasized the wound. I am wounded. I am broken. I am not whole. I need to heal. And that became my identity, my whole identity. Not because I wanted it to, but because when something happens to you, especially when you're young, especially when the people around you don't name it correctly or protect you the way they should have, or even have a conversation with you about it, you can tend to start to believe that what happened to you is who you are. And that wound becomes the identity. And you stop questioning it. You just accept it. That's what walking in shame looked like for me. Not dramatic, not loud, just accepting what came my way without questioning any of it. Never rocking the boat, never asking, wait, is this what I deserve? Does this actually make sense for my life? Just taking it. Because somewhere underneath everything, I believe I deserved whatever I got. Quiet, constant, and incredibly hard to see when you're inside of that. So let me go back to the Divine Mercy Sunday, and let's stay with this image for a moment, right? Because whether you're Christian, Jewish, spiritual, or maybe somewhere in between all of them, right? This season carries the same theme across traditions, if you will. Easter is resurrection, coming through death into life. Passover is liberation, being led through something impossible into something new. Divine Mercy Sunday is showing the wounds, standing in proof of survival. And what strikes me about all of this is this: the wounds weren't hidden. They were part of the story. They weren't shameful. They were evidence. Evidence that something tried to break you and didn't. So here's the question that I've been sitting with over the last couple of days and has really had me thinking. If the wounds were never meant to be hidden, why have we been hiding ours the whole time? Why have we been carrying them in secret? Why have we been treating them like proof of something being wrong with us instead of proof that we survived something real? And I don't have a perfect answer, but I think it starts with shame. And I think shame tells us to hide from what we haven't fully processed, to perform fine, to accept what comes without questioning it, to never rock the boat, to keep the wound private because if anyone sees it, they'll know something is wrong with you. But here's what I know now. Nothing was ever wrong with me. The wound was never my identity. It was just something that happened, and I survived it. And my scars are the proof. And I want to say something about why I bring this up and how this has transitioned into the work that I do. Because I am not a coach who learned about overfunctioning in a textbook. I am not a coach who read about grief and decided to help people through it. I have lived it. I overfunctioned my way through decades of my life. I carried grief that had nowhere to go. I walked in shame so quietly that nobody knew. And yes, I accepted things I should have questioned. I believed lies about my own worth that I never even should have been handed. But I did and am doing the work. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe not everything all at one time. You know, sometimes you've got to put stuff down. But I have done it, and I am still doing it. And what I coach from is not really just experience. It's scar tissue. There's a difference. Experience means you went through something. Yes. Scar tissue means you went through something and came out on the other side, changed. And now that change is what you offer others. A coach who teaches from scar tissue doesn't flinch when you tell her your story because she's already been somewhere similar. She doesn't panic when things get heavy because she knows what heavy feels like from the inside. She doesn't need you to perform like you're okay because she knows what not okay actually looks like. That's what I bring. Not perfection, not a healed and finished version of myself. Just, I'm a little further down the road than you are. And I'm willing to turn around and show you the way through. Now, I want to say something important, and I hope you really hear me when I say this. This episode is not asking you to go public with your wounds. It's not asking you to post about your trauma or share your story or perform your pain for an audience. That's not what showing the scars mean. What it means is this: stop being ashamed of them in private. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to be ready for all that. But in the quiet, in your own heart, Stop treating what happened to you like proof of something being wrong with you. Stop accepting things without questioning them. Stop walking through life believing you deserve whatever comes your way. Start asking, wait, is this okay? Does this make sense? Is this actually who I am? Or is this just what I've been handed? That's the beginning. Not a public declaration, just a private shift. From shame to clarity. From a wound to scar. From this is who I am to this is what happened to me. And those are not the same thing. And I'll close with this. There's an Elton John song called I'm Still Standing. And I'm sure you've heard of it. And I think about that sometimes, that song, because after everything, the assault at 12, the silence that followed, the grief, the solo motherhood, the overfunctioning, the shame I carried quietly for so long, the wounds I emphasized for years before I understood they were scars. After all of it, I'm still standing. Not because nothing broke me. Some things did. But because I kept getting back up. And I stopped hiding the evidence of what I survived. I started showing it. Not to perform pain, but to say, look, I'm still here. And if you're listening to this, you're still here too. So whatever you've been carrying, whatever wound you've been treating like an identity, whatever shame has been keeping you small and quiet and accepting things without questioning them, I want to remind you, you're still here. And that means the scar is forming, whether you can see it yet or not. The healing already started. You just have to stop picking at the wound. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to be ready to show your wounds to the world, but you do need to stop being ashamed of them in private. Stop accepting things without questioning them. Stop treating what happened to you like proof of something being wrong with you, because there was nothing ever wrong with you. You were just carrying something real. And if you're still here, that's not nothing. And actually, it's everything. Well, that's all I've got for you this week. So if this episode resonated with you, make sure you follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Leave a review. It helps get more people into this conversation. And share it with someone who needs permission to stop carrying their wounds and shame. I'm Rachel Lee. I'll see you next week as we keep figuring it out.